This section displays the world's longest caves ranking in real time. Shuanghe Cave is ranking the 3rd position. Since its discovery in 1988, over 3 decades of continuous exploration have unveiled Shuanghe's secrets. It has propelled from initial obscurity to its current position as the world's 3rd longest and Asia's longest cave. Shuanghe Cave has a surveyed length of 437.1 kilometers and a depth of 912 meters. It comprises 4 layers of passages, 115 entrances, over 200 branches, and 5 underground rivers. The cave structure is complex. Caves adjacent to caves, caves connecting to caves. Shuanghe Cave acclaimed as the Natural Cave Museum, and stands as China's largest and most complex cave system and the world's longest dolomite cave. Spanning a distance of 437 kilometers, this vast subterranean expanse establishes Shuanghe Cave System as the region with the highest cave density in China and the world. It represents one of the most comprehensive showcases of underground dissolution and erosion features, harboring an exceptional diversity of speleothem types, including numerous formations considered world-class speleothems. Shuanghe Cave has the world's largest and most densely developed cluster of cave dome, and the most densely developed and deepest cluster of underground shafts globally, and most densely distributed clusters of cave waterfalls and cave potholes in China, and have a remarkable variety of cave morphologies, including keyhole-shaped, maze-like, canyon-like, and dendritic forms. It's currently the China's longest, deepest, and most challenging underground canyon for exploration tourism. Stepping inside transports visitors into a dreamlike subterranean realm. The speleothem landscapes in Dafeng Cave and Gypsum Cave possess exceptional aesthetic value. They are diverse and colorful, featuring stalagmites, stalactites, stone columns, soda straws, stone flags, stone waterfalls, and stone curtains. The helictites in the Helictite Branch Cave are transparent and exquisitely delicate, covering approximately 4,000 square meters. They are extremely rare globally and still actively growing. The pool water deposit landscape in Shanwang Cave consists of rimstone dams, underwater crystal flowers, cave lotus, underwater gypsum crystals, and cave pearls. Among these, the rimstone dams are signatures landscape of Shuanghe Cave. They act as indicators, documenting the varying water levels of historical pools. The Gypsum Crystal Cave contains nearly 30,000 square meters of gypsum speleothems, including gypsum flowers, gypsum crystals, flocculent and curly shapes, all in various forms and actively growing. They are extremely rare, establishing the cave as a premier global destination for observing karst beauty and a benchmark for cave karst formations. The cave walls of the Celestine Branch Cave are adorned with crystalline, pale blue Celestine deposits, covering approximately 3,300 square meters. This constitutes the world's largest cave area graced by Celestine, possessing immense scientific and aesthetic value. It is a spectacle unparalleled in China and exceedingly rare worldwide. These extraordinary attributes distinguish the Shuanghe Cave System within the UNESCO Global Geoparques and World Natural Heritage Sites. Suiyang County is now actively pursuing UNESCO Global Geoparques centered on Shuanghe Cave, aiming to establish it as a shining emblem of China's cave tourism heritage. Faced with such a marvel, we naturally seek to understand its origin and present life. During the Cambrian and Ordovician periods, approximately 540 to 440 million years ago, the geopark area was repeatedly in an arid, shallow sea lagoon sedimentary environment, depositing over 1 kilometer of dolomite strata. Subsequent changes in sedimentary environments and multiple phases of tectonic movements transformed the Shuanghe Cave area, shaping a roughly triangular structural blank zone, bounded by 3 fold-fault belts. Meanwhile, exposing the ancient dolomite strata at the surface. Commencing the Pleistocene, around 2.6 million years ago, with limited recharge area and no allergenic water, but enriched by sulfate-laden karst water, this region has experienced a series of surface and subsurface karst differentiation and succession processes, gradually formed a systematic, complete, typical, and rare dolomite karst geomorphological system and evolutionary model, it positioning Shuanghe Cave as the definitive exemplar of global dolomite karst. Over millions of years of tectonic movement and water erosion, the Shuanghe Cave area has sculpted a fantastical underground landscape. Water and rock, carved over aeons, first formed scattered underground rivers. Gradually, multiple independent northeast to southwest oriented cave clusters formed. With crustal uplift and river incision, the caves were uplifted, forming 3 levels of dry passages, while southeast to northwest oriented conditions developed and progressively captured the earlier northeast to southwest systems. By the late Pleistocene, around 150,000 years ago, a vast interconnected 4-tiered maze-like supercave system emerged. As the abundant underground rivers dissolved the bedrock, speleothem growth entered a massive developmental phase, transforming the dark complexity of Shuanghe Cave into a resplendent, dreamlike world. Simultaneously, fissure waters, rich in different components, carbonate, sulfate, or strontium and sulfate ions, seeped through the bedrock. A sudden drop in pressure released CO2, precipitating speleothems of different mineral compositions like calcite, gypsum, and celestine. The Shuanghe Cave system is currently the world's only cave known to simultaneously develop speleothems composed of calcite, gypsum, and celestine. It's the most naturally beautiful and unique, outstanding example of global dolomite karst cave evolution. The Geoparque, with Shuanghe Cave system as its centerpiece, masterfully narrates the profound depth, captivating mystery, inherent wonder, extraordinary rarity, and stunning diversity of subterranean dolomite karst. Above ground, the park features landscapes dominated by peak cluster depressions and peak cluster canyons, collectively narrating the natural, beautiful of surface dolomite karst. It exhibits both like peak clusters, conical peaks, and stone pillar peaks, negative landforms like depressions, valleys, blind valleys, polges, and tienkeng. It also includes water landforms, such as rivers, springs, and waterfalls. This assemblage encompassing almost all types and formative conditions of surface dolomite karst. Furthermore, from the watershed towards the park boundary, surface hydrology evolves. Temporary runoff from rainfall transitions to seasonal streams and perennial rivers. This represents a positive succession process from high peak cluster with deep depressions towards peak cluster river valleys. Since the Pleistocene, surface evolution has progressed through distinct stages: block segmentation, gullies, peak cluster depressions, surface rivers, inheritance development and modification. Tectonic highlands and resistant rock zones evolved into orderly peaks and peak clusters, while tectonic lowlands and weak rock zones formed depressions, canyons, polder, and other negative landforms. The formation and evolution of the park's dolomite karst exhibit distinct differentiation characteristics, divided by the watershed from Jinzhong Mountain to Rangshui into 2 sectors: the northwest, south side, and the east side. These represent 2 independent surface dolomite karst processes with different developmental trajectories. In the northwest-south side, the groundwater system is relatively underdeveloped. The main developmental driver is the continuous incision and capture by surface rivers. Surface karst processes dominate, with only a few minor caves underground. In the east side, the groundwater system is highly developed. The continuous incision and capture by both surface and underground rivers is the main process. Both underground and surface dolomite karst processes are intense, mutually coordinated, and symbiotically developed. Over aeons, nature sculpted karst scenery in Suiyang, fostering a favorable and suitable ecological environment. Evidence shows giant pandas inhabited this area 100,000 years ago. Over 40 individual giant panda fossils have been discovered within the Shuanghe cave system. Today, the Shuanghe cave area remains a vital habitat for Françoise langours, mandarin ducks, egrets, thrush, and specialized cave organisms. Suiyang is renowned as the poetry homeland of China, the cultural hub in northern Guizhou since antiquity. As early as the Eastern Han Dynasty, the literary scholar Yin Zhen established an academy here. Relics include the ancestral hall of Tang Dynasty poet Chen Zi'an, the Jianggongci Academy from the Qing Dynasty, the Gongguan Bridge, the largest and tallest single-arch stone bridge, the exquisite Wangtao bamboo weaving, the ancient hot spring tower, and the famous Jinzhong Mountain ancient temple. These all silently recount Suiyang's cultural prosperity and history. Suiyang Geoparque was approved as a national geopark in 2004. Since then, geological relics have been implemented to tier protection, and facilities such as a museum, interpretive science, and trails have been built. Various forms of science popularization activities have been conducted. 23 international joint cave expeditions have been organized, increasing the surveyed cave length area from the initial 25 kilometers to 437.1 kilometers. Suiyang Geoparque was transformed from relative obscurity into an internationally recognized site. It has become a model for international cave science collaboration and a testament to global karst research cooperation. Over the past 30 years, Shuanghe Cave has attracted numerous scientists, explorers, and cavers worldwide for exploration and research. Among them, French cave explorer Jean Bottazy stands as a key figure.
My first exploration in China, in Guizhou, in 1986, the melting chamber. And then, as an achievement, we have all, of course, the Shuanghe cave system. The first time I came in this area is 23 years ago. Exploring this step by step, now it becomes the third longest cave in the world. This is a very long-term challenge.
Now the Geoparque serves as a local earth sciences education and environmental awareness base. It has also become the core attraction of Suiyang's tourism industry. Geoparque development has significantly boosted the local economy, with residents actively participating and achieving prosperity. Since 2012, the Geoparque has welcomed nearly 2 million visitors, generating over 300 million RMB in tourism revenue.
今后，我们将在国家地质公园的基础上，以申报世界地质公园为契机，加大人力、物力、科技的投入，不断加强对地质公园遗迹的保护，并将严格按照国家和联合国教科文组织的要求，高标准、高质量地将绥阳地质公园建成世界一流的贝云野喀斯特地质公园。
We extend a sincere invitation to friends worldwide to experience the unique charm and profound wonder of Suiyang, the longest cave in Asia, the soul